The next few minutes, I want to talk to you about the economy. I'm going to talk to you about unemployment. I'm going to try to explain why I think we have the problem of unemployment and how I believe we can fix the problem. I'm going to give examples of my own business because that's the best way I can explain. I'm going to give some facts and a few opinions, and hopefully by the end you will understand how we're into the problem, and then hopefully we'll have an idea of how we can get out of it. I am a laundry service contractor. I've been servicing coin-operated and card-operated washers and dryers in apartment houses and condominiums for probably 35 plus years. And I'm going to give you an example of a couple of requests for proposals, and that will help hopefully understand the majority of the problem and why we have the problem today. This is a request for proposal from an independent apartment owner. It's got about 10 minimum standards that must be met by all the bidders and one blank space to fill in. And that blank space determines in 90% of the time which company is awarded the work. So let's analyze what we know. Minimum standards are stated for all to meet, and the blank space, which you fill in with your price, determines selection. So what that, and these are facts, by the way. This isn't opinion. This is a fact, and this is an actual request for proposal. So what this means is that to be most successful, you must place priorities on meeting these minimums so you can fill in this price with the best price. So our system rewards those companies that do the minimums the best so they can fill in the price with the best. It's a system we have of minimums. And you know, an example of that is when in the stock market, when a company announces they fired 10,000 people, what happens to the stock? You would think it would go down, but actually it goes up. And that's the system we have today. Competition rewards those who do the least the best. We have a system that requires firing rather than hiring. Here is a government contract request for proposal. This is a 10-page form sent to all prospective bidders, and again, this is minimum standards for all to meet with one blank space to fill in. And again, 90% of the time, that blank space determines the winner. So again, is it really difficult to understand that to be most successful, a company must place priorities on minimums so they can pay, in this case, the most money. Now going back to this request for proposal, the independent apartment owner, this was for a 400 plus unit property, average rents over $1,000 a month, and the winning bid was $5,250. My bid was $5,000. I lost it for $250, or about 60 cents per unit. But it was a better bid than mine financially, so I have no squawks about it. That's the way business is done. Now, I'm a small company. I bid against national companies, larger companies than myself almost all the time. Companies that place priorities on meeting the 48-hour minimum guaranteed service time that this contract states, okay? 48 hours, what does that mean? If a call comes in on a machine at 8 a.m. Friday morning, as long as it's fixed by Tuesday at 4 p.m., that meets the minimum standard of 48 hours. You know, larger companies with call centers, when you call in, you're going to speak to someone 1,500 miles away. But guess what? That's more economical than someone here sitting at this desk answering the phone. Somebody who's telling you, yeah, we'll be there within a 6-hour frame between 11 and 5, okay? rather than someone here sitting at my desk and saying, we'll be there by 2 o'clock, or we'll be there within 2 hours. But guess what? This meets the minimum standards. It's okay if you tell people you give them a 6-hour window. It's okay if you tell someone who calls in Friday morning that you'll be there Tuesday at 4 o'clock. That meets the minimums. It's okay if you tell the resident who calls in his refund he'll receive within 10 days. Okay? I might say you'll receive it, well, I will say you'll receive it the same time that the machine is fixed. But guess what? It doesn't matter, because the minimum standards are okay, as long as you fill in this price with the best. So what we have is we have a system that makes it to be most successful, makes you place your priorities on doing the minimums. Now sure, there's going to be that 10% group who will pick their contract and award their contract based on, you know, who's going to do the best job. But what happens is most of the people who make these decisions are not the owners. In this case, the government procurement officer, he has a boss. And for some reason he picks the wrong job or the wrong company for the job. At least if he picks the best price, he can always say, well, at least they gave me the best price. Can you imagine if he picks a lousy company and they weren't the best price? What's his excuse then? And that's the way business is done in America today. To be most successful, you must place priorities on doing the least allowable so you can pay the most price. We have a system that makes it to be most successful, place your priorities on firing rather than hiring. Now, how can we turn it around? I don't know the answer, but I will give you some suggestions. Let's say, for example, in this independent job where I bid $5,000 and the winning bidder bid $5,250. What if the request proposal came out exactly how it is, minimum standards to be met, and fill in the price? The winning bidder will pay $5,250 a month. Now, based on that, we're gonna award this contract based on who's going to do the most above and beyond the minimum standards. Okay? Instead of sending the refund within 10 days, you're going to have your refund within 24 hours. Instead of servicing your machine that's called in Friday morning by Tuesday at 4, I'm going to service it the same day. Okay? At worst, if a call comes in during the week, you'll have 24-hour service. And your commission payments, if this guy's going to send it to you by the 30th of the month, and that's okay minimally, I'm going to have it to you by the 15th of the month. What happens now if we know the companies who are bidding the job understand that the contract's going to be now awarded on who's going to do the most the best rather than the least the best? Well, suddenly these big companies, or any company who's been successful because they're good at meeting minimum standards, are going to have to rearrange their entire operation, their entire way of doing business. Suddenly, now companies are going to have to begin to hire rather than fire. Suddenly, the unemployment problem, I don't know if it's going to go away or not, but I will tell you, the stimulus packages, the tax incentives for hiring, all these are good ideas, all these are nice ideas, all these help for a short time. But unfortunately, what happens is the core of the problem, the heart of the problem, the pulse of the problem is deep down, and it goes back into our bidding process. Because again, the current system makes it a necessity to be most successful to place your priorities on meeting these minimum standards so you can fill in this blank space with the best price. We must get competition to begin working the way it was intended to work. I thank you for your time, and I'm curious as to your responses and thoughts on my analysis of the unemployment problem and how I feel we can begin to get out of it. Thank you. My name is Michael Scheffres, and I thank you for your time.